Welcome to this first session of the fifth Adhyaya of Sri Bhagavad Gita. We start with the gratitude to the Lord, with whose grace everything is possible. Also to the Guru Parampara, with whose grace this knowledge has been protected, preserved and passed on for generations. And I'd like to pay my tributes to our Guruji, Pujya Guruma, with whose grace I am able to learn the scriptures and share my understanding with you. We start with the prayer. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Punaktu Sahaviryam Bharvavahai Tejasvinavadivamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So before we go on to the fifth Adhyaya, let us recapitulate the first to the fourth Adhyayas. The first Adhyaya mentions the Gnana Adhikaritva of Arjuna, who is Mumukshu, who wants to have his Kalyan, Shreya Marga, and that's why he is asking to the Lord to give him Atma Tattva Updesha, so that his Ajnana can be relieved. The second Adhyaya mainly focuses on the Atma Tattva Updesha by Sri Krishna. And then Lord Krishna talks about the Karma Yoga principles, how karma is important in this world. And then finally talks about the Sthita Prajna Lakshana, the attributes of a wise person who is firmly rooted in deep knowledge. The third Adhyaya is a more detailed description of the Karma Yoga, the different attitudes of Karma Yoga, how we can practice this in our life. And finally, in the fourth Adhyaya, Lord Shri Krishna talks about the Gnana Karma Sannyasa. With this Atma Gnana, with this knowledge, how we can achieve to know our own Atma Swarupa, which is already Akarta, and achieve a Karma Sannyasa by Gnana. So with this background, let us recapitulate the attitudes of Karma Yoga as has been described in the third Adhyaya. The first is the Ishwararpana Bhava. While we do our karma, we should be firmly surrendered to the Lord, so that our ego does not come up. It should be like a Nimitta Matra Bhava, to please the Lord. So whatever we do, we should get our, that Ichha must be that we try to please the Lord. And finally, we should get our own joy in doing the karma, rather than waiting for the karma phala. We should do it as if we are doing this as an ajna, as by order by the Lord, thinking that we are all, servants to the Lord who has created this universe and maintains this universe, with the nimitta matra bhava, so that our ahankara does not come up. And we should do our duty as a kartavya, karma, different roles that we play in our life. We should do it with the best possible way. And whenever we receive the karma phala, we should accept it as it is, as a prasada from the Lord, try to share it with others and accept it completely. So with this are all the attitudes of Karma Yoga. The fourth Adhyaya talks about renunciation of action by this knowledge, by the self-knowledge, in which Lord talks initially about his avatara, his incarnations, why, what is the purpose, when he does incarnate, what is his true nature, how does he incarnate, and then talks about all the actions of the Gnani, the Gnana ki Mahima, and finally talks about the various yagnas, the 12 yagnas, and then says in the 33rd shloka that the Gnana Yagna is the Shreshta, it's the best out of all the yagnas, and Gnana ki Mahima, what is the superiority, what is the nature of the Gnana, talks in the final Adhyayas. So in the fourth Adhyaya, in the Gnana Prakarana, Shri Krishna talks about what are the three aspects of the seeker. Shraddhavan labate gnanam, tatpara labate gnanam, and sanyatendriya labate gnanam. So one who is Shraddhavan, who has faith, who is tatpara, who is enthusiastic, and who is Jitendriya, Sanyatendriya, whose senses are under control, gains this knowledge. So these are the three responsibilities of the seeker. And then he says, Jnanam labdva param shantim achirena adhigacchati. Means by knowing this, we achieve the bliss, which is achirena, instantly. And every human being wants this happiness, this peace of mind. But we all believe that this peace or this happiness comes from outside, from this world, from the objects of this world, and that's why we keep running around in this world, but which does not give us this eternal peace that we also desire, which does not come and go, which is Param Shanti, which is not dependent on any person, any situation, any event, anything, and which is maintained even in this noise and commotion, because it is our own nature, our own self, which is peaceful. This eternal bliss is from within, and this allows us to live in the now, in the present moment. And then in the 4th Adhyaya, final shlokas, Lord Shri Krishna talks about the person who is Sanshayatma, who has a doubting mind, that he does not gain this knowledge. So Ashraddha, one who does not have faith, one who is ignorance, Ajna, and one who is Sanshayatma, who keeps doubting, he gets destroyed from this purpose of life, does not gain the ultimate goal of this life, and he never becomes happy, neither in this world nor in the other world. And finally, in the last shloka of the 4th Adhyaya, after all these Jnana Prakarana and the Jnana Mahima, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna to do his Karma Yoga. He says, Tasmat Jnana Sambhutam. This Ajnana of your, you must, which is present in your heart, you must kill it with the help of the sword of this knowledge, Jnana Sinatmanaha. And with this, you kill all your doubts with the sword of knowledge. And finally he says, Yogam Atishta Uttishta. So you be firmly established in this Karma Yoga, in this path of action. Get up and fight this war, O Arjuna. And finally, after doing your Karma Yoga, you attain your final salvation, final knowledge, and attain this salvation, final truth. So that the final message of the 4th Adhyaya was that you should do your duty, you should do your karma with this understanding. So the 5th Adhyaya is called the Karma Sannyasa Yoga. The first 6 shlokas are Arjuna's question, starts with Arjuna's question, whether the knowledge is the better path or the Karma Yoga is the better path. That is the same question that he put in the beginning of the 3rd Adhyaya. Now he is putting again in the beginning of the 5th Adhyaya. And then Lord talks about what is the difference between Sankhya Yoga, that is the path of knowledge, and Karma Yoga, the path of action. 7 to the 12th shloka, Lord Krishna talks about the knowledge, the Jnana Yoga, the Karma Yoga, their Lakshana, their Mahima of this knowledge. And then from the 13th shloka talks mainly about the Jnana Yoga. How this Akarta, Jnana, how we can establish. And finally, in the last 3 shlokas of the 3rd or the 5th Adhyaya, Shri Krishna talks about the Dhyana, because the 6th Adhyaya is all about the Dhyana Yoga, how to do meditation, how to do Dhyana, and that's why the last 3 shlokas are the link to this 6th Adhyaya. So let us start the first shloka of the 5th Adhyaya. It starts with Arjuna's question. He has a doubt in his mind, and he says, Sannyasam karmanam Krishna punar yogam cha shansasi yachreya etayorekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam. So again, the same question which is put in a little different way that he asked Lord Krishna in the 3rd Adhyaya, the first shloka. Lokesmin Duvidam, he says, he asked the question whether karma is good or jnana is good. Jayasi chit karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tatkim karmani gore mam niyojayasi keshava. Why do you put me into this ghora karma when you are telling me already, you tell me that the jnana is better than karma? So that was the question at that time, to which Lord Krishna had replied, Lokesmin Dvivida Nishta. pura prokta mayanaga gnana yogena sankhanam karma yogena yoginam. So he said there are two lifestyles that he had described. For the Gnana yogis, it is the Gnana yoga. For the Karma yogis, it is the Karma yoga. So Lord Krishna did not give him one proper answer. He asked that time, tell me one thing that I need to do. So here also he says again, he says, O Krishna, Krishna means a person who attracts, Krish, iti Krishna, who attracts everyone towards him, who is a Shyama Varna, as a dark complexion. Krishi also means farming. And Krishna also means the knowledge, the light of the knowledge and existence itself. So there are many meanings of the word Krishna. And he says, Karmanam sannyasah, you are praising Shansasi, you are praising Karma sannyasa. And cha punaha yogam, Karma yoga. And also you are praising Karma yoga. So you are telling on one side Karma sannyasa is good, you run away, you go away from your karma. Nivrutti Marga, and the other is the Pravrutti Marga, the Karma Yoga Marga. He says, this is also good. So you praise both. So I am confused, he says. Out of these two, Etayoho, Ekam Tat Bruhi Sunnishchitam. You tell me whatever is good for me. Shreyas Kara, one which is beneficial for me, definitely will bring me upliftment, betterment, Shreyas, Kalyana. So that is one thing that you must tell me. I'm confused. Don't tell me two things. That Gnana is also good and Karma is also good. Tell me one thing that I need to do, whether I need to do Karma or whether I need to go for this self-knowledge. Because both these are quite different. From the Arjun's perspective, both these appear quite contradictory. One is Pravrutti Marga Karma and one is the Nivrutti Marga Gnana Marga Kanyas Karma Sannyasa Marga. To which Lord Shri Krishna answers, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sannyasa Karma Yogascha Nishreyasa Karabhubhau Tayostu Karma Sannyasa Karma Yogo Vishishyate. So Lord Shri Krishna says that both this Sannyasa and Karma Yoga Marga, both are good, both are definitely will lead you to Shreyas Kar, both are Shreyas Kar, both are Kalyana Marga, both lead to upliftment, both lead to your betterment, both are good. Sannyasa Marga as well as Karma Yoga, both are good. But out of these two, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna that Karma Sannyasat Karma Yoga Vishishyate, means that out of these two, Karma Yoga is better than Karma Sannyasa Marga or renunciation of action Marga. And here he says better, Vishishyate, Vishesh. He doesn't say this is the best, but he says this is out of these two, both are good, but out of these two, this is better for you, Arjuna, because it is for the suitability, adhikaritva of Arjuna that he tells here. Bhagavad Gita is a scripture for the masses, and here Arjuna is the madhyama through which Lord Krishna is giving updesha to all the people. And for most people in the world, the adhikar, their suitability is in karma, and that's why Karma Yoga is what is being described as a better based on the adhikaritva of most of us. Whereas in Upanishada, most of the adhikaris are people who are much more enlightened, like Nachiketa, like Swami Ashwalayana, Rushi. So a lot of other Shishyas they are already enlightened Shishyas, and those are the people for whom Karma Sannyasa is sometimes more favored in Upanishads, whereas in Bhagavad Gita, Karma Marga, the Karma Yoga Marga is given a preference because most of the people in the world are candidates, are suitable for the Karma Marga. So Sannyasa Marga is essentially a marg of the Tyaga, because people have to give away the entire world, all the worldly afflictions, everything has to be given up, and that's why Tyaga is one of the main factors in Sannyasa Marga. So Sannyasi is a Karma Tyagi who gives away the Vidhivat, he gives away, that's why it's called a Vidvat Sannyasa. The Karma which has been described by the Vedas, they are all given up by the sannyasi, and then there only purpose of life is to devote themselves to the Almighty, to this Jnana Sadhana. Whereas Karma Yogi does a lot of karma, but Lord Krishna tells him what is the Karma Yogi difference is that he gives away, he renunciates the Karma Phala. So he's a Karma Phala Tyagi. So Tyag is there in both Sannyasi as well as Karma Yogi, both have to give Tyaga. Sannyasi have to give Tyaga of all the karmas, whereas Karma Yogi has to give Tyaga of Karma Phala. So both have to give Tyaga. Tyaga is important. And both these lifestyles, basically the Pravrutti Marga of the Karma Yogi and the Nivrutti Marga of the Sannyasi, the Grahastha of the Karma Yogi and Sannyasa of the Sannyasi, both for them finally they have to devote to the Jnana Sadhana to achieve the ultimate goal of their life. Karma Yoga is also a way towards Antakarana Shuddhi by Shithilikarana of the Raga Dvesha, and finally then there is a Jnana Sadhana which is to be done, and only such a mind which is pure can be ready for this Atma Jnana, and that's why finally ultimately the final outcome is the same for both. Gneya Sanitya Sannyasi Yo na Dveshti na Kankshati Nirdvandvo hi Mahabaho Sukham Bandhat Pramuchyate. So here in this shloka, Lord Krishna equates the Karma Yogi to a sannyasi and almost praises the Karma Yogi and says he is like a Nitya Sannyasi. But what is that person? Oh, the great warrior Mahabaho, Yona Dveshti na Kankshati, means that person who does not have very strong likes, dislikes, Raga, Dvesha, does not have these kind of attractions, repulsions. Know that this Karma Yogi who is sthit in the Samatva, he is like a Nitya Sannyasi, he is a ever Sannyasi. And that's how Karma Yogi is now equated almost to a Sannyasi, and says that Karma Yogi is as good as a Sannyasi. And that's how Lord Krishna not only praises Karma Yogi but also praises Sannyasi, and by equating a Karma Yogi with a Sannyasi praises the Karma Yogi as well. Says Nirdvandvahi Sukham Bandhat Pramuchyate, means by getting above his likes, dislikes, above his Raga, Dvesha, and being sthita in this Samatva Buddhi, by understanding that this world is not going to offer me what I really need, and that's why this Dvandva, these worldly dualities which come and go, Sukha, Dukha, Mana, Apamana, Raga, Dvesha, all these Shitoshna, Sukha, Dukha, all these dualities he gets above, tries to get above this, tries to do Titiksha, Sahan, Shilta, develops these kind of qualities and then rises above this, and he is the person who achieves eternal bliss from all the life bondage by becoming Sukha. He says all these eternal bliss he develops from these life bondages, and then he develops or achieves moksha. Sankhya Yoga Pruthak Bala Pravadanti na Panditaha Ekamapyastita Samyaga Ubhayor Vindate Phalam. So here Lord Krishna says that Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya is the knowledge tradition or the knowledge path. Sankhya Yoga and Yoga. Yoga is the Karma Yoga. So Pruthak Bala are children who don't have much understanding. This kind of immature people, they believe that these are two different paths. The Sankhya and the Karma. Both are different paths, but not by knowledgeable persons. Na Panditaha. Panditaha, knowledgeable or wise people who have understood the essence, they don't see this in this way. They believe, the Pandita believe that Ekam Apyasthita, even if one is api samyak asthita, one is well determined on one path, whether it is a Gnana path or a Karma path, but if one is samyak asthita, means well firmly established or well determined on this path, who follows this path properly with understanding, with its true spirit, with its essence, ubhayo vindate phalam. For them, the final result is the same. Ultimately, both of them lead to the same goal. The goal is ultimately salvation, moksha, liberation. But this moksha is attained only with the jnana, the Atma Jnana. And finally, Karma Yoga as well as the knowledge path, the Sankhya Yoga, both of them lead to the same Atma Gnana with which one can achieve moksha. So essentially what Lord is trying to say here is that there are several ways of attaining the divine. There may be Karma Yoga, there may be Bhakti Yoga, there may be Dhyana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Gnana Yoga. All these ultimately, finally, one has to go to the final, it's like a temple which is on the hill. There are several ways of reaching the temple, but finally, once you want to do darshana, there is that final, the parda or the curtain which has to be taken away so that we can do the darshan of the Lord. And that final darshana, final kartana is the ajnana, or ajnana has to be relieved, and that is only by gnana. So that is the final way to do this darshana. So that is how the final path is the gnana with which we can achieve this moksha, and that is what both the Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga lead this to. So what is important is the samajhdari, the buddhi, which is important, the understanding, the right understanding is important to achieve this Atma Gnana. Yat Sankhyai Prapyate Sthanam Tad Yogairapi Gamyate Ekam Sankyam Cha Yogam Cha Yapashyati Sapashyati. So again, Lord Krishna says that what Sankhya can achieve, Yat Sankhya Prapte Sthanam, what is the state that is achieved by the knowledge, by the sannyasis? The same stage is also achieved by the Karma Yogi. He says, Tat Yogai Api Gamyate. So Karma Yogi also reaches that stage which the Sankhya Yogi or the Gnana Yogi reaches. And finally again he says the same thing, that there is no alternative to Gnan for moksha. And both these paths, though Lord Krishna in the 3rd Adhyaya says, Lokesmin Dveda Nishta, he has said these are the two lifestyles, but ultimately both these lifestyles take you to the same goal. That is what he is trying to say here. Ekam Sankyam Cha Yogam Cha Yapashyati Sapashyati means one who knows well that knowledge and Karma Yoga, the Gnana, the Sankhya and the Karma Yoga are one path, they are not different, knows that this is the correct vision. He says, Yapashyati Sapashyati. One who sees like this, sees truly, sees the essence, sees the spirit behind what he's trying to say. So essentially that, Gnana Marg leads to the moksha, whereas Karma Marg also leads to the Antakarana Shuddhi, and finally this person becomes a candidate for Atma Gnana, and finally with Atma Gnana he achieves the moksha. So both these have the same path. It's the same path. Either you go through the Nivrutti Marga, Sannyasa, or one goes through the Pravrutti Marga or the Karma Yoga or the Grahastha Marga. But what happens if somebody takes immature sannyasa or tyag or karma tyaga? If they do it immaturely, then what can happen? The next shloka, Lord Krishna says, Sannyasastu mahabaho dukkhamaptum yogataha yoga yukto munir brahma nachirena adhigacchati. He says, without karma yoga, sannyasa is difficult, it is painful. This kind of immature sannyasa should not be taken by people. It says, Ho Mahabaho, Ho great warrior Arjuna, Ayogataha sannyasaha dukkham aptu. Somebody who has not practiced karma yoga, ayogata, who has not practiced the yoga, the karma yoga, and he has not developed antakarana shuddhi, he has not shithilified or nullified his raga dvesha, for them, if they take renunciation, this is dukkham aptuma. It is painful. It will give a lot of miseries to that person because he is not matured and he has taken karma sannyasa. Yoga yukta muni brahma nachirena adhigacchati. But one who has practiced karma yoga properly, he has become yoga yukta, who has developed nishkam karma, who has practiced this, becomes a muni because he has become manana shila, he does shravana, manana, nididhyasana, and acquires Atma Gnana. And for this person, Nachirena Adhigacchati Brahma. So he achieves liberation, Brahma. Nachirena Adhigacchati means in no time, without any, when he is Antakarana is Shuddha, without much time, he achieves the liberation, the moksha, the Brahma Pada. So this is the link that he shows. Practice Karma Yoga, selfless action, become Antakarana Shuddhi, do Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, become a Muni, acquire the Atma Gnana, and then he achieves liberation in no time. There is no time in this. So, what is the eligibility for sannyasa? Who is the person who is considered to be a mature person for karma sannyasa or renunciation? So, the person who has already neutralized raga dvesha by doing karma yoga, because our Guruji tells us that unless you accept something, grahan karne se pehle, you cannot tyag something. So, you have to first accept. Suppose one wants to do a donation, one has to earn money first to give donation. So similarly, first one has to do grahana and then tyaga. Similarly, karma also. First you have to do grahana, you have to do karma yoga to neutralize all the raga dvesha, and then once we are matured enough, then one can think of doing karma tyaga or kanya sannyasa. And then one has achieved adequate vairagya. And this vairagya is very important because vairagya to the worldly objects, situations, persons, relationships, adequate vairagya. But this vairagya should not be by dukkha. It will be otherwise be a very temporary vairagya. It has to be by viveka, by understanding, the right understanding that what I need, what is my final goal is not going to be possible from these worldly afflictions, affections, and my this understanding. And then one person has developed a sanyama over his mind, body, indriya. All this sanyama is there through viveka and vairagya. So this is a person who has significantly reduced his desires and expectations from the world, because he knows now that what I need is not going to be available from this world. And that's why he likes more of isolation, ekanta premi, who can enjoy the isolation, does not become lazy, but tries to do the best when he is in isolation, and has adequate control over his senses, mind and speech. And there is a burning desire, mumuksha, to achieve higher goals in life which the world cannot make him possible. And even while he is in the vyavhara or the worldly affair, remains quite tatastha, sthita, quite composed, does not get too overwhelmed by emotions, because he has the right understanding, viveka. And that's why all his decisions, his buddhi is also quite balanced. His buddhi, his decisions are based on discriminations and not on emotions. So this is a person who is a right person, eligible person for a karma sannyasa or karma tyaga, because then this is the person who can actually devote his sannyasa, his time towards the gnana that he wants to achieve and become one with the Lord or the Almighty. So that achievement is only possible when these characteristics are already met. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate. So in this shloka, Lord Shri Krishna tells us about the link from karma yoga, how one can reach up to the atma gnana or the knowledge. So it says yoga yukto vishuddhatma bhavati. One who does karma yoga yukta, who performs or who does karma yoga with all the attitudes that has been described already, he purifies his mind, he develops vishuddh atma. His mind, his inner self becomes more and more purified, because his raga dvesha gets more and more nullified, all his asura vritti gets dissolved gradually, and then he develops more and more devi sampatti and develops purification of his mind. Once this happens, it becomes vijitatma bhavati, means he achieves victory over his mind and his body, does not do vyartha cheshta, vyartha actions, his body does not do all this, and his mind also becomes quite stable. He develops a control over his mind, vijitatma. Now atma itself here does not mean the soul, but atma here means the body and the mind complex, the karya karana sanghata. Because this is our normal belief, so it's not the true sense. Atma does not mean the soul, but it means the karya karana sanghata, the body mind complex, because that is the normal belief of a human being, that I am my body, I am my mind, I am my senses. So this is how we understand our self with, and that's how Lord Krishna also talks when he says Atma. It is with our normal belief, it's not the true sense. And Vijitatma Jitendriya Bhavati. Jitendriya means one has a control or a modulation or a victory over his own senses, Indriya. Because and this comes only with the mind control. Once we have a control over our mind, we can have control over our senses, Indriya also. And with this, finally, what happens if once all this is met, what happens is that this knowledge, Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma, means that I am the same person, my soul, that it is there in each and everyone's soul. So that सर्वभूत में जो आत्मा है वही मैं आत्मा हूँ, वही मेरा आत्मा स्वरूप है. That kind of an understanding, that kind of a knowledge is achieved only with this for this person who has already gone through this. He's become a karma yogi, he's developed antakarana shuddhi, he's become a vijitatma, who's become a jitendriya. So this person will develop this knowledge, Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. I am the soul of all the beings, I am the same. And with this understanding, while he is in action, he remains in action, he does his action, but is sthit in his Atma Swarupa, does not get bound to the action or the results of the self. When that is the result of this self-knowledge, Atma Jnana, that he does not get bound to this result. So what is this understanding of this wise person? What Krishna is talking in the next two shlokas, the 8th and the 9th shloka. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavita pashyan shurvan stushan chitran ashnan gachan swapan swasan. This is how a wise person, even though he lives in this world, he does not get bound to his actions, does not get karman apina nityate. The previous shloka when he says, what is that understanding? And this person he calls by two names, Yukta. Yukta means who has an integrated personality, whose mind, body, senses, everything is at one place. It's not that his body is somewhere else, his mind is somewhere else. He's a Yukta. He is an integrated personality. And Tattvavita. Tattvavita is a person who has known this Tattva. Tattva is the essence of life, the anaropitakar vastu or Tattva. It is the foundation, it's the substratum of this universe, which is known by this wise person. So the wise person has seen this Tattva, and that's why their understanding is different. And what is that understanding? Pashyan, Shronvan, Spushan, Jigran means while seeing, while listening, by touching, by smelling. So all these are the four Sabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, the Vishaya of the four Jnanendriyas. And Ashnan, Gachan, Swapan, Shwasan means eating, while walking, while sleeping, while breathing. So while doing all these activities or actions which may be voluntary or may be involuntary, what does he believe? He believes that Naivam Kinchit Karomiti. Firmly believes that I am not doing anything. All these actions are being done in the Anatma, whereas I am the Atma, I am the Akarta Swarupa. So this understanding is very deeply rooted. The next shloka he says, Pralapan Visujan Gruhanan Unmishan Nimishan Api Indriyanindriyartheshu Vartanta Iti Dharayan. So Pralapan, while speaking, while Visujan, purging, while doing Tyaga, Gruhanan, by accepting, Unmishan, opening eyes, and Nimishan, closing the eyes. So while doing all these voluntary and involuntary actions, what he believes that Indriyanindriyartheshu, by these sense organs are engaging in the objects of these sense organs, Indriya Artha. Indriya Artha are the Vishaya, are the objects of the sense organs. So Indriya, and previously I said, Guna Guneshu Vartanta. So basically, these Indriya are engaging in this sense objects. That is what he understands. I am not doing anything. Naiva kinchit karomiti iti manyeta. He believes very firmly that I am not doing anything. This is all being happening in the Anatma. So for this person, Atma, Anatma, Viveka is very, very clear. He believes that I am the Atma, I am the Atma, and he is firmly rooted in this Atma Swarupa. And he believes that this is all these actions, activities, all these are done in the Anatma, and I am not responsible, I am not part of it, I am Asanga Atma. So this understanding is very clearly, firmly rooted in this wise person, Tattvavita, who sees this very clearly that though he lives in this world, he lives with this clear understanding, and that's why he does not get bound by these actions, because he does not believe that he is the doer, he is not the karta of these kind of actions, and that's why he does not get affected, does not get binded or bound to these kind of actions. So this is the main difference between the knowledge between the wise person and the unwise person. The wise person who is firmly rooted in with the Atma, he understands that he is the Atma Tattva, he is the Atma, and he is not the Kartrutva. Abhiman is not there because the Atma is Akarta Swarupa, and because of these this Akartrutva Abhimana is not there in his actions, he is free from the karma bandhana. So even though he lives in this world, he does all the karma but does not get bound to this karma bandhana, because that Kartrutva Abhimana, Akarta Swarupa is there, Kartrutva Abhimana is not there. Whereas the unwise, because he identifies himself with the Anatma, the Sharira, the Mana, the Buddhi, the Ahankara, the Indriya, all these are the Anatma. And the unwise identifies himself with this Anatma. And that's why when he does the karma, he does with a lot of Kartrutva Abhimana, that I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, I am the bhokta, I am the karta. So with this he gets bound to this karma, and because develops raga dvesha, and then continues to do this karma, and karma phala, sansara, and this janma bandhana. All this is for the unwise, for the person who identifies himself with this anatma. The 10th shloka, Lord Krishna says, Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lityate sapapena padmapatram vivambhasa. So here he talks about the karma yoga, how this person does karma, he does actions. Brahmani adhaya yaha karmani, when he surrenders all his actions to the Lord. And this has been previously mentioned, this is the Ishwararpana Bhavana, because whatever we do, we always remember the Lord and then surrender our karma. So while we are doing the karma, we are not looking at the karma phala, but we are trying to look at the Ishwara Prasannata and Ishwararpana Bhava. It also means that we are the nimitta through which this action is being done, so our Abhiman, Kartrutva Abhiman does not come up. And Sangam Tyaktva Karotiha, and performs all these actions without getting bound to the fruits of the actions. So whenever we receive the karma phala, we don't get attached to these karma phala or the actions or the fruits of the action, and we accept whatever karma phala comes to us as a prasada buddhi. So these are attitudes of karma yoga, Ishwararpana Bhavana and prasada buddhi, and that's how that person does not get lipyate nasa lipyate nasa papena, does not get bound to sins. Because even though he lives in this world where there are a lot of papa, punya, all these sins and everything, but he lives like a lotus leaf, padma patra ivam basaha. So he lives like a lotus leaf. Lotus leaf, when it lives in water, it does not get affected by the water, because if you put a drop of water on the lotus leaf, then it will just slide off from its leaf and it will come back. It will not get attached to that lotus leaf, but that drop of water will shine out, because it does not get attached to this lotus leaf. So that is the Padma Patra, the lotus leaf. That person lives like a lotus leaf. That person who is a karma yogi, who lives like a lotus leaf, does not get bound, though he lives in the water, he lives in the karma, he lives in the sansara, but does not get affected, affiliated, or get attached, or does not get bound to this karma, sansara, and lives like a Padma Patra Ivam Nasa. Essentially, there are the two things that bind to us when we live in this world. One is the Kartrutva Abhimana, the pride, the Aham Karta, Aham Bhokta, and the Asakti, the attachment to the Karma Phala. Whenever we get the Karma Phala, we have a jid or an Asakti or a Viragra about a particular kind of a Karma Phala. And with this attachment, it develops a Raga Dvesha, develops new sanskaras of new karma for us, and both these are the binding forces that bind us to this karma in our worldly affections. So these are the two things that we need to take care. Kartrutva Abhimana by Ishwararpana Bhavana, and Asaktis or attachments by Prasada Buddhi, because whenever we get karma phala, we accept it and share it with everyone. कायेन मनसा बुद्ध्या कैवलैरिन्द्रियैरपि योगिनः कर्म कुर्वन्ति सङ्गं त्यक्त्वात्मशुद्धये. So here Lord Krishna talks about the main benefit of Karma Yoga, which is the inner purification of our inner self, the mind. Yogina Kayana Manasa Buddhya Kevalai Indriya Api. So Karma Yogi performs selfless action with the body, mind, intellect, only with the senses. Kevalai Indriya means with only the senses without the Raga Dvesha. So that is how the Karma Yogi performs his karma with all these Karya Karana Sanghat. Karma Kurvanti Sangam Tyaktva. He performs actions leaving all the attachments. Sangam Tyaktva. Lord Krishna tells us repeatedly that we should do actions but without getting attached to the fruits of the actions. And the main purpose is to develop Atma Shuddhaye. So that is a purification of our inner mind, our inner self, our Antakarana Shuddhi. That is the main purpose of doing this Karma Yoga, because it's one of the most important sadhanas for us to develop this Shuddhi, and only with this Shuddhi we can achieve or be prepared for Atma Jnana. This is the sadhana Chatushtya Sampatti. Only without this, all the Upanishads, even the Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutra, all these the Trai Grantha, the Prasthan Trai Grantha, everyone all mentioned that Antakarana Shuddhi is the most important way that we can achieve this knowledge. Without developing Shuddhi, this Atma Jnana is not possible. Most of the sadhana is also for this kind of Antakarana Shuddhi, which prepares us for the knowledge. And after that, Achirenadhigachiti doesn't take time to develop the knowledge, but it takes a long time to develop this Antakarana Shuddhi, inner purification of the mind, which is the most important first step before we can achieve or embark on the Atma Jnana. So in the next shloka, Lord Krishna says the difference between the person who does the Karma Yoga and the person who does not do the Karma Yoga. Yukta karma phalam tyaktva shantim apnoti naishtikam ayukta kamakarena phale sakto nibadyate. Means Yukta is a person who is a person who does the Karma Yoga, who renounces the results of action. His actions are purposeful, though they are without desires, they are with a definite purpose. And what he achieves eternal peace. Shantim apnoti naishtikam, naishtika shanti, param shanti he achieves. Whereas the ayukta is a person who does not do the Karma Yoga but does selfish actions, unaware. He is a person who is uchrunkhal, who is just by his desires, he is motivated by his own selfish desires. Phale sakto nibadyate. He remains attached to the results. He lives in this world but gets only miseries because he does not do the right kind of actions with understanding, and that's why he does not even achieve peace of mind. He just tries to, goes from here to there and does not achieve anything. So Lord Krishna tells us to do our actions in the right way, with the right understanding, with the Karma Yoga attitude, so that we can achieve the peace of our mind. So with this, we come to the end of the first session of the 5th Adhyaya. Talks about starts with the question of the Arjuna, whether Sankhya Yoga or Karma Yoga, which one is better, knowledge or the karma, which one is better, and Lord tells him that both are good, both are Shreyaskara, both are worth doing, but Karma Yoga is better because Adhikaritva, for most of us, we are all deeply rooted in our karma and we are all in action, and that's why Karma Yoga is the best way to start this journey. Once we go to the Karma Yoga, then Lord Krishna tells us that Karma Yoga and Sankhya Yoga are going to take us to the same goal. Ultimately, goal is the same, the journey is different. In Karma Yoga, we have to develop first Antakarana Shuddhi, Atma, and only then we can become eligible for this Atma Jnana. Whereas for a person who is going on to the knowledge path of the Nivritti Marg or the Sankhya Marg or the Karma Sannyasa Marg, for him the main goal is the Gnana Yoga Sadhana, which he has to be done, and then he can reach his ultimate goal. And finally, then Lord Krishna talks about the Sankhya Yogi, the Karma Yogi, the Lakshana, what is a Yukta, who is a Ayukta, how we should do Karma Yoga, what is the purpose, it is done for Antakarana Shuddhi, and all these, and the link between the Karma Yoga and the Gnana, the Sadhana, entire spiritual journey is being shown. And the next session, we will talk mainly about the Gnana, Gnana Mahima, the Gnana Yoga. What is that kind of a Gnana that will help us to understand the Karma Yoga and to do it in the right way? And finally, in the last three shlokas, Lord Krishna talks about the Dhyana sadhana, because the sixth adhyaya, the next adhyaya, will be mainly devoted to the Dhyana Yoga. With this, we come to the end of this first session. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabhrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.